We've done it. Police are there. We have not broken any laws, so they can't do nothing. Oh my gosh.
You can see Liberland is pretty beautiful. It's right there. One finger? It's okay? One finger? Liberland! This is so cool. I've always wanted another passport, and it's crazy to be holding one in my hand. This is my passport. You can use this to enter UN countries such as Haiti. Oh my god, I can't wait.
Turn up the phone. Turn up the phone, he says.
Okay.
Go. Oh, crazy. What are you doing? What's the problem? Why are you kicking me?
As you can see, the Croatian police clearly weren't happy that we got on the island.
Excited that we've got such a huge growth recently, and that Liberlanders are moving physically to Liberland. So that's very, very cool situation in which we are in.
Right. So let me start off with the Drew Binsky trip. I know Drew Binsky is one of the most popular travel vloggers with millions and millions of not only views, but also followers and subscribers. What made you collaborate with him and take him to Liberland?
It was very exciting that he showed up. You know, it wasn't planned, and it was great that he came down. And you know, he made his video that attracted then other even bigger YouTubers like Nico Milana to stop by and help us with the settlement of Liberland, which was very crucial step in the development of our country.
Ready?
Ready.
Big moment. We're putting the flag in the ground for Liberland, for the NDL. We've made it happen. Oh.
Let's say with Drew Binsky at that time, this was a few years ago, and I know you were intercepted by the Croatian authorities, the usual stuff, you know, they try to get in between your access. From that time until now, where you're actually settling people in the country, it's a huge, huge achievement, because physically being able to get into it and then having settlers inside is a big achievement. How was the journey, and how were you able to successfully manage this?
Well, it was very exciting that on 6th of August this year, a group of, let's say, 70 Liberlanders during the Floating Man Festival were on their way to Liberland. And despite a couple people still being arrested a week or two before for just going to Liberland, we just went there and nobody arrested us. They checked our documents and they were very nice to us. We even left them those seats, those beach seats with Visit Liberland at the post where they set up for border crossing, and we showed them our passports. We exited Croatia, we entered Liberland, and we kind of very well celebrated during the whole evening, because it was very magical time when we finally, after 8 years, were able to peacefully enter Liberland without any obstacles.
Does Croatia still consider the territory as part of theirs, or they feel it's disputed and they don't really consider it officially as part of their nation?
They have never done so. They have not changed anything about that. So Liberland is not part of any Croatian map. As far as we know, we have a huge study on that. And there has been no change in that regard. So I'm very grateful for Croatia for their position and for protecting our borders for all these 8 years until we got mature enough as a nation state to be able to inhabit and settle our territory.
I see. And Serbia never played a role. This was always your dealings with Croatia, really the negotiation with Croatia to make this happen.
Very beginning, 11 days after we established Liberland in 2015, which really it was the 24th April 2015 when 11 days after establishment of the country, when Serbia stated they don't mind creation of Liberland, was not established on territory of Serbia, which was very important part of the whole story.
What was that one moment where this came to your mind and you decided that this is the path to pursue? You saw the opportunity first, that you had a place where you can have a collective mindset with other people who can make use of this. What really triggered? What was the first instance of that moment where you said, let's do this one?
I think understanding really how the system and society works, and also understanding that you cannot really fix existing country. It takes basically ages for some country to change its mindset to become, let's say, more freer. It might be much easier to actually start a new country with the freedom-oriented individuals that share the same mindset than trying to change the opinion of somebody who just is building a country for hundreds of years and they want to build it the same way. So getting rid of excessive regulation and taxes was the number one objective with our country, and we know very well that that of course taxes disincentivize economic growth and excessive regulation kill it. So when these two things are removed, I think the healthy society will grow at around 15 to 20% a year, and this is something which we're striving for.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, let me jump straight into one of the other main things. I'll get into the citizenship and some of the benefits of that in the later half. But then first, I wanted to start off with the passport. A lot of what I do, people are specifically also interested in a huge part in the passport access and stuff. Now, I had a chat with you, of course, and you mentioned about 40 odd countries being added to that list. That's a huge number and a very big achievement. Wheat, how did you make that happen, and what are the top 5 countries that actually give Liberland passport access according to you?
I think the biggest achievement this year was a beginning of negotiations with Dominican Republic. It's my favorite country in the world. I think it's a beautiful place to live in as well. The great weather all year around. And we made a very good relations. Initially, it started with the proposal that was pushed forward through the Parliament of Dominican Republic or through Congress. And then we progressed into negotiations with the foreign ministry and with much of other ministers. So there was a great achievement there on side of pushing a recognition of Liberland documents forward. Meanwhile, a year ago, we already got the recognition in Haiti for our collaboration. We already got an access, for example, with our passports to El Salvador. And we already knew that the passport works very well in half of Africa. And for example, Oceania as well as Pacific, in all these smaller countries, they recognize Liberland passports, don't have any problem with it. But wow. Yes, like Liberland passport is not the best passport in the world for traveling, but we're working on making it happen that it will be the best passport in the future.
You have some critical countries. A lot of people for specific strategic reasons, they really are fascinated with 2 countries. One is Dominican Republic is the main one. It's one of my favorite countries. I discussed that with a lot of people who I work with. And El Salvador, the Bitcoin initiative. So that makes it super interesting for crypto investors. So those are the main huge ones. One quick question, Wheat, is this a recognition for the diplomatic passport or is it also for the regular Liberland passport?
Well, with the Dominican Republic, we're working also on the regular passports. I hope it's going to happen very soon. With El Salvador, it was the diplomatic passports, but I would also like to proceed with recognition for regular passports as soon as possible. And when it comes to these Pacific countries and African countries, that's actually de facto recognition of regular passports that we already have tried multiple times.
Oh, I see. So African countries, there's still chance, even right now, with the regular passport, one can actually travel?
Yeah. For example, Kenya is a great country where we have at least 20, 40, I think, stamps overall and visas issued.
Wow. Because we have the world, the countries that you don't really want to associate with, like the Western countries, they might not recognize it, whereas all these countries that really matter, the Plan B countries, where people are really looking to go in future for Plan B. And Plan B is a personal thing, right? It's a private personal thing. So if the passport is not recognized by Western countries, but is recognized by the countries that matter, then essentially, if you have a dual citizenship, if you have Liberland as a second passport, you have an incognito entrance to these countries because the other people don't recognize it, these people recognize it. So you're in the country on the Liberland passport. Basically, you have disappeared as far as the West is concerned. Is that true to some extent?
Well, it is kind of, yes. Yes, it is. The same thing applies, for example, for exchanges. I'm happy that Kraken has recognized our passports from day one, and then people can actually utilize Kraken's services with Liberland passports. So that's a similar story there.
Wow, because Kraken is the second most used, one of the biggest used crypto exchanges after Coinbase. And people don't want to associate with Coinbase for multiple reasons. Some people like it, some people don't. But Kraken is an up and coming. And if they accept this citizenship, that is absolutely mind-blowing, Wheat. That's amazing achievement.
And I have to give them kudos for doing that from day one.
Right. Okay. Now, let's come to the citizenship and some of the passport is the main benefit I see, obviously, and then
I
citizenship.
don't think so. To be honest with you, I don't think so. The biggest benefit of Liberland citizenship is really that you're becoming shareholder of I would say, a country that is just about to blossom, and that people don't really appreciate what it means because there is no other example of country being a shareholding structure. But with Liberland, we've purposefully decided to change this and created Liberland as a shareholding structure. And anybody that becomes citizen actually gets 5,000 merits. And these 5,000 merits work as your collateral in the system, but they all will also work as your pension scheme or welfare system. So you will be able to unstake them if you decide that you need basically some money from the state. So it's actually a smart way how to solve all these universal basic incomes and similar ideas, but you're literally just trading your shares in and out of the country. And if you ever decide to again contribute to Liberland, not just for passport, but for something else, maybe it will be your time or your skills or your contacts, you're going to also get more merits for it. And I think it's a very good way to incentivize people to pay the system of voluntary taxes, which we have put forth.
Got it. Each merit, does that translate into a dollar amount, or it doesn't work like that?
We had to actually double the value of merit because the interest was so substantial. So now it's $2 per merit. But what merits also give you, and they give you this right at the beginning of this settlement period, they give you the right, every 10 merits give you the right to settle 1 square meter of land in Liberland. And that's something which has already started. Since August, people are moving in Liberland, they're building in Liberland. So it's kind of exciting to see that happening these days, and people actually utilizing their right that stem from the ownership of stake merits, and they're also moving in and doing something physically in Liberland.
Got it.
By the way, I just got off the call with the guys that are working on this hotel, first Liberland hotel. We have like 4 other bigger development projects that are literally ongoing right now.
Are they planning to develop this on the ground on the Liberland, or are they planning on the
Of course they do, and I'm personally involved in that project. So you can check Liberland Hotel. Yeah. It's a nice YouTube video. We just added a very nice spa to it and fitness center. I'm actually going to speak with one of the organizers of the small sauna city that will be right next to this hotel in an hour from now.
So let me get this right. This is mind-blowing to me. So Croatia has no issues with settling Liberlanders with all of these developments, the hotel, the fitness center, homes inside of the land, and you actually would get claim to your own country physically. They're
well, of course, Croatia, just like they had a problem with us coming there initially, they'll have different kind of problems, but those are their problems. We are going to try to help them solve that. But it's a lot of fun actually in Liberland right now. So of course you have the bunch of pioneers there that are building. But today, for example, the construction of the first domes made out of sandbags started. So I'm quite excited about that. We also have these yurtas from people that are from Kazakhstan that are being built right now. So and there is multiple development projects happening that started today. And it's kind of exciting to see that. And of course, this is a place for the latest technologies. So we've got a very nice modern diesel generators combined with the battery storage. And people have finally the hot water there as well. So, these karmas that are working. So, this is a great testing ground for all kinds of new technologies. And this is also a great opportunity to show Croatia that we are actually serious in what we're doing. So this hotel is initially a 10 million euro investment project into the territory of Liberland that we would really like to kick off as soon as possible.
Right. Now, each country, has to at some point start thinking about security and privacy and, all those kind of things. Now, privacy is okay. Obviously, you're working on several initiatives and it's more of the digital privacy because all your artifacts or your infrastructure is mostly going to be digital. But from a physical security, are you planning to have not a military, but a private security group which can...
We hired the biggest security company in Croatia, in the region, to protect our borders. And we're working with them now on all the cases when something is happening in terms of security. So the contract has been signed and it's ongoing. So it's kind of exciting.
When one becomes a citizen, do they get the Liberland passport, the regular one?
Yes, they have to just make one more step to get it. It's not a difficult one. Basically, they just press one button in our system and then they get it issued.
Now, the 5,000 merits, let's say, a person gets the 5,000 merits after becoming a citizen. Can they, does that automatically translate to land, like property that they have on the location? Or
With every 5,000 merits, you get the right to settle 500 meters of land, and you can choose wherever you want right now. That's kind of exciting because all these people, they can just go there and stick their parcel anywhere they want in Liberland, and we will keep this for a couple more months because it's a lot of fun to see what kind of plots actually people want in Liberland. And but we will stop this at some point, and then we will just auction the other pieces of land.
Got it. What is your plan, Reed, to get UN recognition? Have you already applied? Are you in the process of applying? What is the status?
Well, you cannot really get UN recognition. You can get a vote in UN, but what you really want is recognition by sovereign countries. UN itself doesn't really have this kind of entity status. It's made out of sovereign countries, and all these sovereign countries are the places where we are sending our diplomats. So we're operating in more than 100 countries around the world seeking recognition. I just came back from United States, where I had a great talk with the heads of Republican Party. Then I entered into Georgia, where I met the lady that is sitting on the foreign committee from Georgia. I went to India, where I was sitting with the advisor or with the council member from Modi's prime minister post. So I'm quite busy talking with the highest levels of the government to get Liberland recognition moved forward, especially in the United States.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's super exciting. And I agree with that. I think more important is the country's recognition. If you have the partnership with the right country, that is what people eventually need in life, and not really any stamp of. But yeah, that's amazing progress. What are some of the notable people, if you don't mind sharing, some of the big people who have been proud citizens of Liberland?
Very recently, we've got Lawrence Reed, very famous economist that is part of the network. Ron Paul, of course, he is a famous U.S. congressman who ran for the presidency multiple times in the United States, who really holds the flag of liberty.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful.
Mm-hmm. We've got, but also people that are actively now involved with Liberland. There are a bunch of heroes. Tariq Abbasi is also, he's our Secretary of State, but he's also representative for British King. Thomas Walls is a former U.S. diplomat, also very interesting guy that is a great support for Liberland. So not just people that are like regular citizens, but also people that are actively involved now with Liberland are really great personalities. Some of them quite famous that are helping us to move forward.
Yeah, even Drew Binsky, I think he's quite a known.
Of course, we also gave him the status of diplomat because, of course, he does a lot of traveling and a lot of diplomacy.
This is a perfect example for all of us to see what's happening new in the world, because we all used to all the old stuff. No one really innovates. People innovate in the tech sector, people innovate in all the other places, but no one really innovates in countries, changing structures. These are all old rules. People are fed up, and it's high time people get something fresh, something new. I
completely agree. But there is one thing you need to understand. The amount of innovation that we did with Liberland on the governance level is substantial. We actually combined the best elements of corporation, democracy, republic, and a little bit of monarchy as well into one big DAO, a completely decentralized system of governance that is just kicking in, which is very powerful tool, I believe, that Liberlanders will have. And we are literally, I think, 5 to 10 years ahead of any other nation state. And I'm quite proud of that we managed to put it together. And there is one more thing, this is an adventurous venture. Of course, what we're doing has never been done before. People have to understand that when visiting Liberland, they can still have they can see quite a bit of tension from Croatia. There will be a couple pullbacks for sure, back and forth, but that's what makes Liberland creation also a lot of fun.
I see. Absolutely. Reed, and the other big thing is, what I've seen is you never got fixated on the physical, just the land aspect of it. You moved forward with all the other stuff that truly matters. A lot of stuff happens digitally, and let's get to the Liberverse in a second here. But that is one thing you really pushed forward for. So you never got stuck on the physical aspects. A lot of people get disappointed when there's a resistance from the country, at conflict, and then they give up. They don't pursue their process. But in your case, you went all ahead in all directions, which is what truly stands out compared to rest of the other.
Yeah, and and there are two things. I think you're right in this, that there are two things. I really wish our metaverse project was pushed more strongly forward, because the guy that was operating it is actually now the physical mayor in Liberland. So he couldn't really. He's completely focused on the physical aspect of Liberland. It's quite funny that the director, basically, or the guy that was leading the virtual development of Liberland, is now the physical mayor of Liberland as well. But we're getting really big partners for the development of it. Hopefully, over the next couple of weeks, we get a new company that will start developing it. There is a very good base. The whole system has been done using Unreal 5, and also scalability up to 10,000 people. So it is a very good technological base that needs to be developed. That's one aspect. And one more aspect I want to talk about. We also decided to scale Liberland itself. Its physical scaling is now a big thing. We are buying these barges that have 4,000 square meters, and we're building in international waters under Liberland flag in an Indian Ocean. So it's one of the more exciting side projects that Liberland is doing. So we're also scaling Liberland territory, basically by building a floating city. It has started already at the beginning of this year, or actually already at the end of last year. And then I had just call from the barge, how is it going, and what will be the next development phase.
Got it. Now, this is substantial, wheat, and controversial at the same time. Indian Ocean, obviously, all the countries will try to claim some part of it as their territory. Would this be something that they would approve, you think? Or this is mostly, as long as you're renting the place, you claim that you have your... so what is the recognition from other countries? Aren't they going to create an issue with someone being in their waters?
No, we're completely in international waters in this case, and there is no reason why we should clash with some other countries. Like, we're really out of any jurisdiction that you can think of. And again, so we have looked into this quite deeply, and we don't see a big problem there.
Got it. That's wonderful, and that's amazing, because that was one of my questions. The land itself is finite. There could be some risk. So having an alternate, pockets, and that's it. And that also decentralizes yourself from, especially the model in which you're working. So this is a huge, put forward in the right direction. That's amazing to know. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, I think this just makes sense. I don't know why, but for some strange reason, nobody really launched any serious seasteading project until we started it last year, under with the help of this great gentleman Samuel, that also is actually ambassador of Liberia to UAE, and he also is one of the great guys to help the development of our blockchain governance. It was interesting to find out that the ambassador of other country is actually fixing the code of our DAO last year when we were doing the final sprint. So I'm really happy to have him on board, and we just spent 1 hour on the call on the next steps of development of this floating city.
This is fascinating information which a lot of people haven't heard elsewhere. Weed, thank you so much for sharing it. And the list of people that you mentioned, especially Ron Paul, right, a big personality within the US governmental structure. Apart from that, I personally have come across a lot of people from the military. So a lot of people from different Western governments and their military are actually connected to this initiative. They're looking forward to this. That is fascinating.
Definitely, and I'm now in the process of getting the right partners from Hollywood and from a diplomatic field to foster the publicity and the news about Liberland globally, because the fact that we are settling is something that should have a decent coverage in the world media, and I hope from next month on we will be able really to hear about Liberland from all sides.
Absolutely. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you is there are other nations, right, who also are not doing the amount of progress that you are. Of course, I think you're the only one nation in this space that has taken it to the next level. But you have Kingdom of Enclava, you have Kingdom of Northern Sudan, and then you have the sea land, and obviously they have done few things in their domain. How do you see those countries? I know all of them have given Liberland recognition. Are you in touch with them? What is your relationship? What is their status in this space, and how do you compete with them?
I would say only entity which does have some status is a Sealand. It's more of a historical status. We are friendly with them, and I was invited to their 50th anniversary. It was kind of exciting, and I'm still in a bit of a discussion about the steps for their development. They were interested in the steps that we have taken. I wish I was able to help them to get to the next level themselves, because they have some interesting historical case for their existence and for their territorial claim.
Michael Bates from is he the person?
Yeah. Also, we're in touch, of course. But we've got a nice other projects which are nice to stay at. The house is one of them. It's a 200,000 euro luxurious houseboat, also available for sale on our market. So there are multiple properties that people can acquire right away and stay in Liberland, or they can start just building in Liberland. They can do a little bit of camping still. It's a nice weather there for a couple more weeks. Or they can just decide to really get on full speed in terms of building in Liberland, which is also possible. You can bring your own whatever yurtas and other quickly to build domes, for example, that we are also selling on Liberland market if you look it up.
Well, that is fascinating. I think this is tremendous amount of information, and information that matters. I think you deep dive into some of the technical details, which really matter to people. Plan B, and mostly I get people for Plan B. And this is sounding all but plan, it's sounding complete Plan B, full package with a lot of things. The biggest thing is you're developing and growing this even further, which is a fascinating thing for someone to be associated with right now. And as you said, these things will be closing and these might not be available in the future. So this is the right time to associate with Liberland, I believe, for a lot of people.
Yep, I think so. I think Singapore citizenship is right now 2 million euros, right? Yeah. And think about it, we're really at the beginning of this phase, and we are the cheapest citizenship in the world, and it's also a lot of adventure and a lot of fun.
One last thing I wanted to clarify, the regular passport does not have the recognition from all these countries. The diplomatic passport does. The regular passport has just one odd country that might allow them.
I would say, there is, let's say, 40 countries where you can travel with the regular passport and 45 with the diplomatic one. I would say it's like this right now in the world. But again, this is not our strongest sales element. The strongest sales element is that we're building another Singapore, and you can be part of that process in the early stages of development.
Absolutely. And I see no reason why it would not, get there because of the stuff that you're offering. Apart from being a country, you're offering a lot of futuristic stuff, the taxation, the benefits and stuff. Now, let's say if someone takes benefits of the taxation stuff, they have to be mindful of the home country because they might come and still catch them. They might not agree to the fact that they don't recognize, they might not recognize Liberland, and they might.
Well, we didn't sign double taxation treaty with all of these countries, but if you have a company in Liberland, it's a different story. It's somehow, I would say, a very good approach to doing business out of Liberland, and you can still, on behalf of company, collect merits through voluntary taxation as well. You don't have to do it in your personal name. So having a company which you can already do with the e-residency program is I would say, smart way to do business out of Liberland.
So let me ask you then, if someone wants to start a company, because a lot of people would want to do this, do they get an e-business bank account where they can deposit the cash flow? How does the company formation work with Liberland? So it's not a physical company. It's more like the paperwork and it's more of the online digital formation, right?
Well, they got a option to start a business through Bitwage, which I think is even better than bank in some aspects. It allows you to send money in and out of crypto into banking world and then accept it back through banking. So, for example, if you're sending money to Argentina, you get it done in 30 minutes and you pay less fees than you would do through international transfer. So that's one of the great options. But you can also use Liberland market, where you can already use Bitcoin and any other cryptocurrencies that you normally wouldn't. For example, you don't have experience using cryptocurrencies, but you can also use Stripe or PayPal. So this is kind of our eBay for Liberland businesses, and a great way to get or easily accept crypto if you don't even have a wallet.
That is amazing, Veet. Now, if someone wants to open a company in Liberland, they want to use Stripe or PayPal because those are the two main ones used in, let's say, the US or Western countries. Now, they can start a company online with Liberland. Is this company completely in the Liberland jurisdiction? Is it protected by Liberland and other countries don't have
The company that you start is completely in Liberland. We are actually required to choose a physical secretary out of Liberland right now.
Oh.
But because this is such a new thing, it's very cheap and it's not a big problem. But in the future, I think it will also become more expensive. But you have to choose a physical person that stays in Liberland to be your secretary in order to foster the legitimacy of the whole formation and be more compliant with the international regulations of this.
That is even better because a lot of people would want at least one physical representative, especially in this setting where it makes it more legitimate, as you said. It's just not something that's not recognized. There's a physical person doing, and at least one employee working for that company. So that shows that's a real company.
So this is already possible, and I'm looking forward to have this seat of the companies right now. Most of them were established out of Liberty Street 1, which is actually also my residence in Liberland. So most of these companies are there, and there is a nice basement, and we are storing a great wine there, and we're just building a treasure or safe in that space as well, so that place physically exists. And it's actually becoming a quite busy through business.
Wonderful. I personally want to head to Liberland at some point very soon. Wheat, it's a fascinating thing for me. I've been watching this and following this for a very long time. And I've studied this, and then the number of people that are getting associated. I don't think anyone would want to look beyond that, because if so many big people believe in this and they're part of this and citizens of Liberland, I think pretty much everyone is sold on the importance and the idea moving forward. So it's a big opportunity. So I absolutely look forward to physically coming in, meeting you, seeing, for myself. So
amazing. I'm looking forward to see you there as well.
Thank you so much, Veet. I really appreciate all your time, Veet. I think this is a very important part going to be an important part on my channel, having this for my audiences, because a lot of my audiences call me, they work with me, and we have a personal relationship. It's based on trust. It's based on authentic information, and it's based on innovative and exciting information. And this interview, I think, is going to be very, very helpful for my viewers to not only understand Liberland, but also to associate with it. I'm really looking forward to working with you on this one in future.
Amazing. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. You too. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.